Hi, this is Lee with Godsey Ag. We've got a planter here in the shop we're tearing down to do some maintenance and work on. Seemed like a good time to do a Tech Tuesday video. We'll call this a Low Tech Tuesday. We're not going to talk about electronics or any of those types of things. We're just going to touch on wear parts and things that you need to look at before the season starts. It's March 4th today, so within 45 days some of the early planters are going to be out and running. So now's the time to get after this if it's something that you're needing to work on. Excuse me. So when we first walk up to a row, what we want to do is we want to look at the upper and lower parallel arms, inspect them for damage. We also want to maybe try to strip as much as you can off of the row unit so it's lighter. It makes it easier for you to lift. And you can kind of look as you lift. It's not uncommon to have just a little bit of play, especially these are OEM upper and lower, or excuse me, OEM upper parallel arms. So that's not an uncommon amount. Once you start getting much more than 3/8 to a ½ inch of lift on this tail, and any side-to-side slop, you might want to look at replacing some of those parallel arms, or at least put a row on and see how it compares to the existing row. It really helps as you're going across your field during planting to eliminate some of that planting depth difference that you'll see as that row unit goes across the field. And if you get a ½ inch of planting depth distance, it can really start to affect your timing of your germination and your emergence on your crop. So that's one of the first things to look at, pretty easy to remedy. This is a product that comes from Precision Planting, and there are a number of companies that are making aftermarket types of parallel arms, both upper and lower. The thing they have in common is they typically have a hardened steel insert pushed in here. It's not a stamped hole in a piece of metal. And they also come with a hardened bushing that hold these onto the row unit so that it kind of eliminates some of that wear, and it makes them a little bit easier to replace and repair in the future. So again, we've got 3 or 4 companies that produce these that we will sell depending on what the producer is looking for. Next thing to look at as we've got this row opened up is our opening disc. So opening discs, as they come for John Deere style row units, they are 15 inches out of the box. So you always need to pull 1 or 2 of these off your planter for sure and measure and see where you're at. This one's at 14 7/8, so it's within tolerance. The tolerance is once you start to have more than ½ inch of wear. So on this type of row unit, if you get 14.5 inch or less, it's time to replace those opening discs. They aren't going to be doing the job as they were designed. So that's just a good benchmark for you to know and understand measurement wise. We do offer a couple options on those as well that we do carry and can sell. While we've got this row open, let's look a little bit further down at the seed tube guard. This is a aftermarket seed tube guard. Show you a little bit of how to measure this. These come about 15/16, most of them from the factory. That's out of the box. Once you start to get below 5/8 of an inch is when you start to have extra wear on your seed tubes and your opening discs aren't running quite properly. This is what sets the width of your trench as those opening discs run against it. So a real quick way we've learned to check those is just grab a 5/8 wrench and try to set it on the end, and if it goes around that seed tube guard, it's time to start looking for something different. So 5/8 of an inch is kind of the replacement point on those. Another thing to look at when you're looking at your row units too is the depth setting here that is set by what we call the mustache, which is what the gauge wheel arms ride on, and that's how you control your depth as you go across that field. So this is a takeoff that we have, and what you'll start seeing is a whole lot of wear as those start going across the field. Even though this is a hardened steel insert, you'll start to see these flatten out and wear, and you'll also see some divots start to form on the arms of your opening wheel arms. Sometimes with those, if it's the right brand, right style, you can just flip those over, switch sides, and you'll get a brand new flat surface to work with. Again, this starts to cause some potential issues with seeding depth as you go across the field. If these aren't consistent all the way across the planter, you can see from row to row some inconsistencies when you set your depth at certain points. If you haven't gone through and zeroed each row unit out, you'll start seeing that you may have some variation from row to row in your planting depth, which really can affect that emergence. the first 3 or 4 days after that crop starts to emerge from the field. So we offer a lot of these parts. We have them in stock. 'Tis the season to start working on this. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to call any of us here at the office, send an email, reach out, and we will try to get back with you and help you answer some questions or see if we can provide you any options to solve any issues you may find on your planters. Thank you.